This is Evan. He's your average high school student. Right now, he's about to make one minuscule decision that doesn't seem to have much of an impact at the moment, but we will soon learn that that is not the case. Like all teenagers today, Evan has a really bad habit of constantly checking his phone whenever he has time. So when class ended early today, he decides to go on his phone. Evan B, however, decides to get a small head start on his homework for tonight. As Evan A is on his phone, he's scrolling through Instagram and sees a picture of his ex. She just posted a picture with her new boyfriend. This obviously irritates him. The bell rings and Evan is visibly upset. He goes on throughout the day very negatively and continues to think about his situation. Evan B is proud of himself for getting some homework done. He's happy to see his friend. This energy that he has right now continues throughout the school day. Later in the evening, Evan gets in a fight with his mother. The argument gets pretty heated and his mom says something that really makes Evan upset. He gets frustrated. He stops working on his homework and he walks away. He's been under a lot of stress lately. He has colleges to apply to, essays to write, problems with his friends. Now he's upset with his mom. To suppress all of these negative thoughts, he goes on his phone to distract himself from thinking about all of these emotions. Evan B is upset as well. However, he decides to deal with these emotions a little bit differently. He's tired of feeling bad for himself, and he decides to confront his problems instead of avoiding them. He gets out of bed, finds an old notebook, and begins to write. This is fairly new to him. He's never journaled before, so all he does is write down what he's thinking about, his schedule, recent conflicts, and anything else that comes to mind. He writes about how he's feeling right now and what he thinks may be causing these negative emotions. He feels great relief by doing this. He now is even a little bit less stressed as he reads his schedule. It seems a lot more manageable now that he can see it visually on paper. It is now the next morning. Evan A is exhausted. He held on to a lot of stress and spent way too much time on his phone. Evan B is slightly more refreshed and motivated. He got much more sleep since he wasn't on his phone all night. He gets out of bed on time and even has a couple extra minutes to make some breakfast. Journaling and eating a good breakfast gives Evan a good start to the day. School's flowing a lot smoother for him. He's a bit more energetic and friendly. Evan A is still frustrated with his ex, his mom, and himself. He also arrived at school late and barely got any sleep. His frustration and bad mood are really starting to show in his actions. Later in class, his English teacher, Mr. Smith, passes back one of the essays that Evan wrote. He got a 50% on it. He knows that he did not deserve this bad of a grade. Evan A blows it off and goes on his phone. Evan B decides to be proactive. Sure, Evan thinks that Mr. Smith is unfair and that he grades papers way too hard. He thinks to himself, English class is all subjective. My grade literally only depends on the opinions of Mr. Smith. If only I had a different teacher, I would definitely be passing English by now. However, since he's proactive, he understands that he cannot change the circumstances that he's under. He doesn't blame the system. Rather, he adapts to it. He asks Mr. Smith to review his paper and tell him where he can improve on, so that he gets a better grade on the next essay. He takes the advice and edits his essay so he can get some points back. Evan A is still frustrated. Why do I have Mr. Smith? He's such a hard grader. I could literally write the perfect paper and he would still give me an F. I deserved a better grade on that assignment. Whatever, this is stupid. I just can't wait till I'm out of the school. He stops typing and grabs his phone because he doesn't want to work on a paper when he knows he's still going to fail. Evan B gets done with his homework early, and while he's still motivated, he decides to go be active. He throws on a jacket, a hat, and he goes for a quick jog. Meanwhile, Evan A is really struggling. He's not been actively thinking about the way he feels since he distracts himself with media all the time. He has had no release of these negative thoughts and emotions that he's been experiencing. This becomes quite obvious when a couple days later, he is teased once again by a peer who has always been rude to him. He was so pent up with frustration and anger, he lashes out at the bully without even thinking twice. Evan B has been journaling and expressing himself on paper. He deals with the situation much better because he's more self-aware. He understands that retaliating would not be worth it. He's in tune with the situations and his emotions, so he stops, breathes, thinks to himself, and continues to walk. It is now the end of the week. Even though Evan A and Evan B have both been confronted with the same conflicts, there's been a huge difference in the way that their weeks have played out. Evan B has been journaling, exercising, eating breakfast, and managing the use of social media. Throughout the week, he's been proactive with dealing with his conflicts, as well as being in tune with his emotions. As he's reviewing his journal, he sees the emotions and difficulties that he was going through in the past week. He's very grateful because he can visually see the progress that he's made. Evan A. is still trying to finish his homework. He's really frustrated. He can't think or do anything but feel bad for himself. I don't deserve this. The world just hates me. I don't understand. It's just not fair. However, it's not too late for Evan A. He doesn't even need to think big about changing his life around. Rather, he simply needs to alter small subconscious habits and decisions that he makes throughout the day. Because it is habits like these that truly dictate our thoughts and actions, which ultimately determines our future.